Okay. Yeah.
Like this.
And if you just pull the top inward. Just so you know, we don't have the keyboard, so you have to press the key from the keyboard and Yeah, can I do like 5 training? Yeah, is that okay? I can't get it to work with but I've got my
All right, good evening, everybody. How are we? Please raise your hands if you can hear me. Raise your hands if you can hear me. Look at that. Very good, very good. Give some round of applause. Everybody working. Welcome to Demo Night today. This is a different space for us for learning, but we're very grateful to Ground Capital for giving us this space today. Thank you for leaving. Very kind man. Please give a round of applause. Give a round of applause. Come on, seriously. Okay. So, who has been to a Demo Night before? Okay, pop quiz. What do we do at Demo Night?
What we do?
Yes.
We do support the demos.
Feedback. Okay, the number one currency of Demo Night is feedback. This is not who's the most awesome and asking for $500 million contest. This is show and tell. As these founders say what they're working on, they want you to give them feedback. Constructive feedback, critical feedback, friendly feedback. Maybe you know somebody that can help them. Maybe you look at these two founders and say, I want to use this product. And all the way through, you get to vote and add comments and questions and stuff. Okay, so in this event, you get to geek on your phone like this and type lots of stuff in, and anybody on the live stream can do the same. So if you haven't already, go to menti.com, put in that code. You will then see the decks and the things that go through today. You'll be able to click on the vids and watch them, and you can do that for up to 7 days after this event. So if there's something that you like and you want to watch it again, it's all good. On every demo, you'll be asked to vote about whether or not you get it, whether or not you use it, whether or not you invest in it. Okay? You'll be asked what is your favorite demo at the end of today. That's what we call the people's choice. Okay, so those people we then do an interview for, and we try and do some extra special stuff with them to kind of take them forward because you've said they're the most awesome thing that happened today. He's looking at me going, I'm the most awesome thing that happened today. Okay, and we run these demo nights all over the place every month in London. A little less regularly in Lisbon nowadays, but I think we've done maybe 40, 42 in Lisbon before, which is not too bad. We started life in Somerville, Massachusetts back in 2015. I know that because I was there and I'm a co-founder from Massachusetts. We've done these in Lisbon, we've done these in London, we've done them in Bangalore, we've done them all sorts of places. Hello, John McRae.
Hello.
John, as you're here, I'll just put you straight on the spot. What's the number one reason that startups fail in the world?
Money.
No, that's not.
Sorry, number two. Support.
You see, you put a guy on the spot. Okay, what do you think? Lack of fit. Okay, what's the number one reason startups fail?
Startup phase.
Yeah, what's the number one reason?
Lack of focus. Solving the problem. Already solving the problem.
Lack of funding. Did he say that already?
He did, yeah, he's always on about finding this stuff, right? So it's because we build stuff that nobody wants or needs. And that's because we think we're genius, and to a certain extent we are, because we've seen the world in a different way. But actually the insanity is we don't listen to anybody else while we're trying to do stuff. And we forget that if Andre is my target demographic, I need to build it for him, not for me. There's a fusion here. And this room is the way that founders like these guys can break that bubble, and you help them think differently. That's why Demo Night exists. That's why it's not a pitch competition. It's a learning. So it's a learning book. Okay? Come on, be kind. Okay, your host, me.
I'm
Well,
Chloe.
who are you?
I'm the program manager here at Canopy. So I'm based in Lisbon. I've got feet on the ground, and I'm running our 2025 programs and supporting hosting things like doing.
And Jana's down there, so we won't talk about her right now. She's stuck in a call. Okay. If you want to join Canopy, that's the link, and it's on the thing you can have a look at. Right, your first chance to fill with your phones. What are the words that you associate with startups? Now you get the hang of how Menti works, okay? So you get the voting thing going later. Simple code, if you haven't done it already, just don't. By the way, what we do at the end of today is we export everything from this deck in a PDF, and we stick it in an investors area where 120 investors orbit around Canopy, and they can go in and see what happened today and what votes you made, and they can look at the startup and say, hey, really interesting feedback and questions. I think I want to go and speak to them. So just think about that when we're putting stuff in today. Okay, you get the idea how this works? This is the best quote I found to really articulate what we do. So the idea is when somebody like Andre stands up here, it changes him to look at you, particularly you because you're very scared. Okay? When you ask him a question, it changes him to think about it, but it also changes you to ask it. And when you all watch him ask the question of him and him respond, it all changes you too. And what she says is everything you touch, you change, and everything you change, changes you. So hopefully some of that will happen. 5 minutes is what you get to give a demo. You're fine with 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes Q&A. Total 10 minutes. 3 of them plus the talk makes 4. It's under an hour with some prayers. These 3 people are panelists. Don't they look pretty? Who are you, Miguel?
I'm Miguel. I'm an entrepreneur. I run several companies, and I want to help entrepreneurs build tech companies.
Okay, all the way from
Macau, Portugal, Macau, but now in Gibraltar.
Okay, who are you?
Innovation consultant. No, ex-entrepreneur, currently work as a venture builder. I work with startups and corporates to launch new businesses into the market.
And who are you, Peter?
I'm Pedro, I'm the CEO and investors at Canopy, and hopefully we'll provide you great usage of the next 60 minutes. Enjoy.
Okay, so the most important people are about to take the stage and do the stuff. Now remember this clapping thing that you know how to do. The more you do of that, the more you get out of them. The more you get out of them, the more questions, the more other work. Okay, so give them a round of applause.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you so much for the invitation. We're kind of excited because it's one of our first demo nights ever and our first time at Canopy. So, I'm here to introduce Bumble. I'm Melissa, co-founder at Bumble, and this is Aya, my co-founder as well. And, well, I just wanted to share a little bit of the story on why Bumble started. Actually, a couple of years ago, when Aya and I co-founded Bumble, we had a dream, which was connecting talent from developing countries like us to opportunities worldwide. And you may ask, why did we have like this idea and why did we want to make like this impact? So to solve this question, I want to introduce you to someone, and this person is Akelele. Akelele is a young graduate from computer science. He's currently working as a front-end developer. I'm sure that if most of you are founders here, probably you have a technical person in your team. He's working for a startup in the front end, and he's making $100 a month in a full-time job. So a friend of Agarelli told him that he has the opportunity to tap into the international market, working remotely for an international company, and probably make a little bit more money. So he's kind of really, really excited to tap into this new opportunity. So he started his application process. However, things have not been very nice for him. He's submitted around 100 applications and he's not heard back from any company. So that's a problem because he's getting discouraging. What he doesn't know is that, in fact, 3 out of 5 top engineers get discarded due to a faulty CV. Not because they lack the technical skills, but because they have a faulty CV, and that's why they get rejected. On top of that, 50% of the applicants normally get discarded in the first interview because of communication skills, even when they make a really good fit with the tech position. Here is where we come with a solution. Bumble aims to help candidates to go through their application process, from the very application at the beginning until the person gets hired. To start with the Smart CV Creator, our goal is to make sure that candidates can land the first interview that can probably change their lives. And why I'm telling you this story, because actually, Aquarela is not the same kind of picture, but it's a real story. It's a success story that we have from Bumble, a person that lives in Nigeria that managed to land a job after going through the process in a UK company, increasing the salary 15 times. 15 times. So that definitely makes a difference. And now, Ayu's going to show you how the platform works at this very beginning.
Okay. Can we access the link?
Here.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Just to continue from where Melissa started. So I'm not sure if it's super clear, but this is the first page of the product, and you have a few options. So the question asks, what's your objective with the CV? For this particular one, we're clicking to explore new opportunities so that we understand what the candidate wants, and then it clicks to go to the next page. On this next page, we ask, we want to create a CV that is a reflection of your potential. So we ask a few questions that have been validated with recruiters and founders. Why? What have you done in the present? What have you done in the past? And you have to quantify this with objectives. And we also ask a few questions that are validated for recruitment. So to save time, you can either do a voice recording to explain all of those things, which it shows, or you can do a typed version. And basically, you explain based on this key contest, and it also prompts you to make sure that you're eating the right points. So you have that, and then after that, it goes on to the next page. You can also clear that if you want, and we'll see that it goes to the next page. And it's also a similar design. This time we ask about your 2 most recent experiences, and we benchmark this because most times when you're looking to hire someone, the only validation you have of how good they are is asking them what they've done in the past. If it's a graduate, you ask if they've had any volunteer experience. If it's someone who's actually worked, you ask what they've done, and what outcomes they have. And that is what this is benchmarking against. So we ask for the company, we ask for the achievement, and we ask for them to quantify those achievements as best as they can. And it's also the same entry. It can be a voice or a recording. For this, it's pre-filled just to make it fast and not spend all the time on the demo. And sorry about the quality as well. And then once that is done, you scroll down and you go next. And on this page, we ask for a few information. Basically, first is you have to upload a demo CV. Basically, you have to have an old CV that you have that would capture additional information on. And then the second link is we ask for LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile, so as to extract additional information. And the last one is quite important because we ask for a JD, which is a job description of a job you would like to have. And it's super important because then the AI benchmarks this and it's able to create a CV that's actually fitted to the position that you're applying for. So with these 3 data points, you click submit, and then you wait for the magic to happen. And basically on the side, you get a preview of the CV that it's been generated. And on this side, we have the scoring, the AI scoring option. And the AI scoring option will provide you feedback. And so, sorry, it's not readable. It provides you profile summary, competences, experience. And we benchmark this with recruiters. most recruiters take 15 seconds to scan a CV. If your information is not there, they don't care. They see 1,000. So all of the vital information is absolutely there. You can see that at a glance. And then on this side, you have the points, right? And it's rated over 100. So this CV was really good. So it's rated 90 over 100. You get a summary of the things you did well and the things you didn't do well. And each one also is quantified. So you have impact, brevity, you have style, basically, and then the last thing I think is also your skills, so your technical competency. So you get positives, negatives, and then it also gives you suggestions for improvement. So if you would like to improve, you can either click improve, and then you go back to the flow, and it shows you places where you can add more information. Or if you like it, like I did, then you can click submit, and then it's sent to your CV. You get like what we celebrate because you just created an amazing CV. And then we show also an example. In this case, it's my humble self who had a CV that was upgraded. And then just to zoom in, you can see profile summary, key competencies. I felt really proud of myself because I didn't realize I looked so good on paper. But that is what this can do, and that is a brief demo of what it's capable of. And so, yep. So to quickly. Take it. Okay, so the CV Creator is just the first feature of our career copilot, and we are tackling what we found in our market experience has been the most critical part. You cannot improve on interviews if you do not get invited to an interview, and that's why we're tackling this in the first journey. And what we're looking for is 150,000 euros that we're looking to spend on product development and product market fit in exchange for 10% equity. So thank you so much, and we're looking forward to it.
So now 5 minutes of Q&A. We're going to launch one question. Somebody will do it. And if you have questions, just raise your hand, and everyone is entitled to good questions. Okay? The idea is to provide feedback, and feedback comes also from the questions. Opportunities to explain a few things. Okay? So someone, can you please?
Absolutely. Thank you guys for the presentation and the amazing work. I do have a lot of questions, but I'm going to ask one. Competitive edge compared to the enormous number of companies and solutions that do the same thing. You have resume boarded, job scan, almost the same thing, simpler onboarding as well. So where's the competitive edge here? How are you differentiating yourself?
Okay, so as we said, well, right now, based on whatever is in the market, our process is a little bit like easier. You don't have to feel like each specific question to submit the CV. In terms of experience, we tested out and benchmark already. But that's not enough to be differentiation, right? Our project strategy is basically starting with the CV maker, because as I mentioned, it's not enough. It doesn't matter if we train people further on the process if they don't manage to unlock the first part. But our goal is to put the career applier and can support the person throughout the whole process, from the very application, which is like making the CV, because that's going to open you a door, until you can get trained, even negotiate your salary at the very end. So that's the like sort of footprint right now.
Okay. Questions from the audience, everyone? Okay, over there, please. And please speak as long as you can.
Is the program trained to a maximum amount of pages for the CV? Because as I learned, like the CV should be definitely not be longer than 2 pages. So if you insert more and more information, would it be 5 pages, or is there a maximum amount?
No, there is a maximum amount, and it's been designed to meet international standards. So it serves you to apply normally Europe and in the US, where like people from like English-speaking African countries actually are seeking for the opportunities. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. John, you have a question?
Yeah, just in relation to your go-to-market. So well done, guys. I think you've built a beautiful product. It's really, really nice. It's maybe I've got this wrong, but my understanding is that you're focused on underrepresented markets. So markets that are looking for employment in more progressive jobs, I guess. Have you looked at your go-to-market in that space? Are you partnering with visa platforms, visa programs? What's your approach to GTM?
Okay, so at present, actually, we've received various requests, even here in Portugal. So we're doing 2 pilots with universities. One is Nova School of Business and Economics, and they are looking at B2B applications to the student population. So while we initially started out as, which is still our purpose, right, we've also seen that we can find way more, we can build a competitive advantage way more faster with this universities and educational institutions. So for relocation, we've had a few conversations because we quite expert in the sector. But what we also found is there is way more, especially on the corporate side. There's often way more. It takes a longer time cycle and all of that. And what we've really focused on at the beginning has been that we get the product as fast as possible to the users, and then understand how exactly it helps. And with that, we've been able to get product market fit on the consumer side. And now we're really looking at how can we, because it's not a paid product, just to put that out there. So it's still free, right? So really, what we're doing now is building the later, we have a quality product. Now we have to get the payment and the money coming in, right? So that is how we've gone about it. And we think if it's been probably the best way because of the competitive landscape, and also AI and LLMs are moving quite fast at present. So we need to really execute rapidly.
Okay, someone is fast enough. We still have time for another question. Any question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Is your business model clear? Who you're gonna charge, and is that validated?
Yes, it's clear. At onset, right, we set a small fee for subscription in terms of the candidates, right? But that we saw basically if you got things out as you go, right? It's not been as attractive in terms of seeking investment. And the goal for us, the end goal has always been to have a B2B side, and we've seen way more interest in terms of, hey, we would like to use this for our company, we'd like to use it in the institution, right? So now we're considering and having a white label, either a white label or a subscription service for businesses, and that would be how it will be in terms of being able to scale rapidly. We've seen way more interest on that. And that it was stable. In the beginning, no one wanted to speak to us. Now it's like, okay, we think you're cool. We would like to have a conversation, and it's
Okay, we run the polls.
All right, this is Andre. Imagine you want him to be there and you want him to log in. How much round of applause do you want to give him?
Chloe, to keep me true to time, can you just buzz me the minutes? I want to make sure it's nice and fast.
Yeah.
All right, I'll use up my first 15 seconds to say thank you to Canopy. This is actually the second company I'm running, and the first one was Canopy supported for 6 years or so. So yeah, so after some rehabilitation, I'm back. And so this is my first time presenting this solution outside of our own little world and to our clients. So here we go. So we have decided to build Courtmaster. And Courtmaster is an analytics and media community in the sport of paddle. And why this? Well, paddle is the fastest growing sport of the world. Over 53 new clubs opened per week in 2023. It's very rare that you're in such a critical moment of a growing industry, and one that I believe will change the global landscape of sport. Secondly, we live in a time of media and in a time of analytics. How many people are wearing today or have worn wearables? How many people are interested in tracking their progress? Like, it has become a fundamental part of the way we are looking to improve and optimize our lives. And lastly, because I love it, taking some words of caution from what Stuart said, I'm building something that I'd love to have myself. So I'd really appreciate it if you could explain to me why I shouldn't build it for other people as well. And so what is it?
Sorry for that.
No?
Neither of them.
All right. So use your imagination. What we have developed is a camera kit that you can place onto any paddle court. We can literally ship it. Today we shipped the system to Romania. You can open it. It uses a magnetic attachment system. It can be installed in around 15 minutes per court. You just have to pass an Ethernet cable between the court and an internet access point. It will have exactly the same angle, exactly the same quality at any court in the world. Then at the entrance of the court, you read a QR code on one of our posters, you say you're about to play, and we will send you your video. With that video, you can then create highlights, you can share on social media, and if you're the club, you can broadcast your events to the world on YouTube. And that is what we offer today. This is the quality of the image that we have. It gives you an idea about the location. And for a company existing for not even a year, we have now solidified our hardware and we're ready to grow. Can you show the next one? All right. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, because what we want to do is use this information to help every paddle player get better. We're able to identify the players, track the ball, understand technical and tactical decision making, and build a paddle coach in your pocket. And this is a huge problem today, because paddle is growing at 27% compound annual growth a year, and you simply can't generate enough coaches at the speed of which demand exists. I personally went through that problem over the last 2 years. Next slide.
I'm not good at this. Okay?
All right, you're good. Okay. So I think the next one is why now? Why us? Why us? Why us? Me and those two gentlemen over there at the back. Well, I think the first thing you should need to know is that this is not our first rodeo. So as I explained, we took a company from ideation all the way to exit in 2023. So we've been around the block. We've built company for products. Our head of product, Alyosha, has built products for businesses, for final consumers, and we have experience in hardware and software, both of which are critical skills for this. Importantly, the why now. Paddle is a sport that virtually no one knew about 15 years ago, and it has been consistently growing to over 40 million players, when less than 10 million people played it 5 years ago. 52 clubs were open per week in 23, but most importantly, if we look at the maturity curve of the different markets, we can tell that these huge markets such as US, Germany, UK, France are just at the bare beginning. So if they hit anywhere the heights of Spain, Portugal, or the Scandinavian countries, this market is just at about 5% of what it can be in a few years. And from mapping out the competitors, what we can see is that people are either focused on having things that deliver media, which is where we are today, or we have some companies looking to develop statistics, but they have don't have a scalable system. So it's exactly this opportunity of having the smarts and the scalability that we're looking to bank on. What is our current ask? We are now popping our heads out, but I have to tell you, we're not just an idea. We're in 53 courts, in 24 clubs, in 7 countries very soon. So we have a track record and we have growing traction. We're adding around 8 new courts per month with very limited sales. So now it's time to put our heads out and to start raising our round. So we want to speak to club owners and coaches. This will help us scale and improve our product. We want to speak to computer vision experts because we're exploring options to speed our way towards extracting statistics. And we're looking for business angels willing to write tickets of over 20,000 euros for our initial pre-seed round, which we'd like to close by April. Thank you.
6.5 minutes with a
Just a minute and a half.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so I got the disease, the pedal disease as well, so I understand. It's a cool presentation, by the way. Have you heard about Game Camp?
Yes.
This.
It was on the.
Yeah, how are you guys, because there are competitors outside,
Absolutely.
how are you guys going to outperform them?
So the biggest difference between us and them is the ease of installation and cost. So they have a very cumbersome system that is highly invasive and not applicable to all ports. That's the first one. And the second one is the business model. So they need very high upfront fees for the hardware. We're going for, and this is a separate question, but our business model is evolving from today we charge the club a monthly subscription. We want to make this to zero, and then we want to have a revenue share with the club. So we don't want to be charging the club. We want the club to be a partner because our end customer has to be the player and sponsored. So we have a pretty different approach to this. We want to be cheaper, more scalable, and faster to grow with them.
Yeah, I'll intro the type player, so let's stop afterwards.
Type player. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. Questions from the audience?
You refer, you want 20K investors, and as I understand, you want to build this kind of metrics and this kind of features from the video processing. This is a very demanding procedure, okay, very budget consuming. Is 20K, you want to use a 20K to invest in part of the computer vision and etc. I would see what you can tell us about this. What is your idea of investing, how to address this?
So
challenge?
we're looking to build our first friends and family round of up to 500K. So we're looking for individuals. We don't want to go down the institutional route just yet. We believe that this initial round will enable us to develop the first version of the statistics, have a standalone app, and prove the B2B2C business model. This is the big goal. And after this, we'll go for a large round. I'd like to keep our options open. It could be crowdfunding, which I think would work really well with our system, or we can go for an institutional round from a VC firm. Did that answer your question? But I would say the number one priority is not tech. The number one priority is scalability. If we can ship to any country in the world and have our system running today, I'd love to present again in 6 months and not be in 50 clubs, but be in 200. And that would be the most important thing.
Okay, any questions?
Can you show the statistics? Because we did not show the statistics.
No, we don't have them yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
How durable are those cameras? How long do they last? Even when they're outside, like.
So our cameras are actually security cameras, 2K, weatherproof. We are outdoor, fully ready. We're in Maputo in Mozambique, where temperatures, humidity, and rains are intense. We had a camera installed for the whole of winter here. So yeah, I'm pretty confident about our setup.
Okay, any more questions from the audience?
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the.
Sorry.
Is the recording fully anonymous? Like, I know the players are moving and the names are anonymous and what they're saying is anonymous.
The camera's on the outside of the court, so we don't get the audio. And I don't really understand what you mean by anonymous.
Well, I mean, you're talking, I mean, I'm wondering if they will be identified.
They will have to be identified if you want to have your own statistics, right? If you want to know what happened to you, you have to know who you are. But you should be aware that we only extract videos that are requested. So our camera isn't recording and capturing data full time. Absolutely. Absolutely. We only get videos of people who ask for them. And I mean, from that on, if you decide to share them, that's up to you.
John.
Sorry, maybe I missed this answer or question already. But it's just like somebody. Is this translatable to other sports? Is this something that you've looked at? You're building tech, you're building analytics. Is it something you can translate?
Yeah, especially to racket sports, tennis, squash. But lack of focus is a huge trap. I expect us to be fully paddle focused at least for the next 2 years. There's no lack of margin of growth. Once that becomes a bottleneck, I'll be happy to think about other ones.
But it's licensable. It's something you could ship out potentially.
Yes, but the logistics of the setup changes for each sport.
Okay.
And what I love about paddle is that they all have a glass cord with a metal structure, which means today with one single attachment, magnetic attachment point, we're compatible with every power cord in the world. And that is not replicable to any other sport.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, you're still scary, and remember, you still want him to love you, okay? So let's give it a go.
Okay, hi to all, good evening, and I want to thank firstly to Canopy for this opportunity to present and to receive feedback from you. So my name is James Santos, I'm the CEO and founder of AI Tech Serve, and we are looking at the next stage for some funding investment, 500K investment to allow us to grow and scale marketing and also build some features. And what motivates us is that we want to help to protect people and assets based on these wildfires and floods. So this is a big issue, and you can see California cases recently, and the Valencia case, more than 200 deaths, unfortunately. Here, $46,000 per minute, considering the spread rate of the California wildfires. So what we want is to protect people, protect assets by early detecting these events. And now the question is that we have the motivation for this that comes from. We have the technology enables artificial intelligence and machine learning. So you use proprietary machine learning models. And we have the challenge that comes from the climate change, because climate change will increase the quantity of these events, but mainly it will increase the intensities of these events. California and Valencia are already 2 cases of this. So basically what we bring is a solution that is computer vision that mimics the behavior of a human surveillance. So it's not thermal, it's not sensors, it's using optical cameras, and we can cover big areas in a fast implementation with a 10 to 15 times lower cost compared to these sensor or thermal cameras. And we are talking about thermal cameras that don't have the capacity that we are having now. We are detecting smoke columns 1 to 2 millimeter size at 30 kilometers distance. And thermal cameras don't have this kind of capacity of the detection. And we are able to adapt our models and our configurations and alerts per scenario, per camera, in order to reduce some false cases. It happens, it's true. And also to send specific alerts based on the case. So this is a video that I'm going to play, and this is a video that shows when we were able, this is a real implementation that we have with local government, and we were able to detect, even here you can see it, but there is a small column of smoke there. In fact, it was a chimney factory, okay, but it was important for us to understand the distance and the capacity, and what we use then is the IDMR method, this additional method that we put on top, that now we don't produce any alerts related to that case, because we can draw several rules that don't give this kind of alerts. This was a real case fire at 19 kilometers distance, okay? And despite this is not the area of intervention of this local government, they went there. They were not the first, but was one of the first arriving, and we registered this fire with 10 minutes before what is the register that is in the focus.pt. So as considered the beginning of the fire, we detect 10 minutes earlier. And this is another case. It was 12 kilometers distance. And now, okay. Why this not? Okay. This is the second video just to show. So basically we are partners of Axis. So we use the VMS of Axis. Our software runs inside the camera partner device where is all this launch intelligence. So this is a very professional software, and where you can configure video all, etc. We can receive here the alerts every time they happen, but we also will receive the alerts by email and by mobile. It will happen here. So we can receive an email where we see the image that activate the event, or the person that is responsible for surveillance, they will receive a recording, it's not here, that shows what happened that moment, and how we can jump in directly for real time in this ad. So you can immediately validate what is going on and act. So thank you for your time. I think I went to somewhere that is not supposed. Sorry. So who wants to join us and help us to protect the environment and keep safety, families, and
Right. Simple question. So what is your, at the moment, your primary target? Is a person trying to change this?
Okay, there are sorry.
What's your biggest challenge reaching that person?
Okay, so we have 2 or 3 types of personas. So we have government, for civil protection, but we are aiming like forest, wood productions, solar wind production, like saying that the danger that comes is not from inside, because 85 to 90% of the fires, for example, water, is forest fire. So the danger comes outside. So if you want to protect inside, I would say sensors maybe it's the best. We want is how we use the cameras to survey all its surroundings, and if there is a danger that comes from outside, you can alert you to do some. So civil protection, some companies more in production, is our main type. The difficulty is exactly to achieve and get time from them to listen us, especially that we are a startup, and so they don't know us quite well. Anyway, we are already with conversation with municipalities, Juntas Freguesia. We had already a meeting with the Secretary of State of Civil Protection, and we are in a program that is the Deaf Protecting. We entered that is in the InsurTech field, so we have an interest from InsurTech to help to minimize losses. So this is a program that we are running. We're going to make a pilot with Fidelidade. So this is also a different persona that could help us to sell or to approach clients.
For those who don't know, Fidelidade is an insurance company, great one, big one. Questions from the audience? Any questions? No, that's good.
At the beginning, you were mentioning you also track floods. What are the visual cues that you're looking for in floods?
So the idea is that we say that we track water. Okay, so if you have a river, and it is, of course, it will detect water, but we can draw based on IDMR method areas and behavior. Say, okay, if you detect here, there is no issue, it's normal, but if you hit some target, then we can produce the alert. Okay, it could be applied on these situations. It could apply in instant floods, like the case in Valencia. You know there is a danger area. If you detect water coming with the sun size, you can produce an alert or ruptures.
Okay. More questions?
How can you distinguish between wildfires and fires provoked by
a person?
A person that is working on this agriculture activities, and which is very usual.
Queimadas.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't separate what could be a fire from somebody that do it, control it in purpose to make some damage, or it is just a natural situation. We don't do this kind. We just detect the smoke or the flames, and we provide the alert. If you have like a place that you know that will be a queimada, you can or stop to do it, or you can keep it to do it. It will give you an alert, but you know, okay, this place is expected to have a queimada, so no issue. But it's good that you can keep observing if it will not be uncontrolled at a certain moment. Sometimes happens.
To follow up on that, how do you know where the location is when you can map it with the...
Now, this is one of the things that we would like to address in the future, so the investment will be part of that. We are talking with some universities to tackle these challenges. If I know where the camera is, I know the point of the image, where is the detection of the smoke. Now, what is the distance from here to there? Okay, and what is the... And where is the location? And this is a very difficult thing to address, because in the same, with one camera, you can have valleys and mountains, and when you see the smoke column, it would be 30 kilometers in one camera, but if you turn to another camera that is more planned, maybe what looks like the same distance looks like maybe it's 5 kilometers and the other 30. So it's a very difficult thing to tackle. And in these talks with the universities, they say we may need maybe to match a little bit the image, so calculation based on parameters of the camera, also with some kind of satellite information, topographic information. But they told us, we had this conversation with them, it's going to be a very difficult thing but it will be very interesting to have. So currently what we have with the implementation with this Bajoka is that they remove completely all the logistic things, so find vigilantes, make the scales and transportation, etc. And they name each camera. So they know each camera where they are pointing, and of course they know the terrain. So when they see some kind of fire, they more or less know exactly where it is happening. But it's based on their knowledge, not because we can exactly point out to them.
Okay, stand up. Have a little stretch. We're going to have a slight change of format. If you guys want to leave your stools, these guys are going to take them over. Okay, anybody watch baseball? Anybody go to a baseball game? There's a thing called a seventh inning stretch that you all do together. Okay, so I'd just like to ask you to stand on one leg. Okay, stretch your arms out wide. Touch your nose. Look around. Okay, come on, touch your nose. On one leg. Okay. Okay, now put your hand on the person next to you. And just remember that everything got a lot easier because you were helping each other through. Okay? Okay, so this is a slightly different change of format. Please take your seat. This is a fireside chat. So do with it as you wish.
Cool. Well, listen, really nice to see some familiar faces and some new ones. My name is John McCoy. I'm an entrepreneur in the ecosystem. Stuart has approached me and Chloe about putting together, sorry, you guys know Chloe?
Yes, I did introduce myself before, but yeah, we're working on something together in the Web 2.5 space.
Yeah.
For you to explain.
Yeah, so Web3 is a big topic over the last 4 or 5 years, right? Tokenization, how blockchain interacts. A lot of people are scared by the technology. A lot of people are scared by what it means for their business. So what we wanted to do with this session, and we're going to run it on a regular basis, is bring a Web 2.5 narrative to Web 2 companies. So to understand how it can impact your business without getting caught up in the hype, without getting lost in the pump and dumps and all the big great stories that you hear of on the internet. Let's look at real value. Let's look at how this technology can impact your business and increase profitability, increase spare time, and increase output for you all. So the idea starting today was to bring Adrienne Youngman, a friend and a peer along to this event. Adrienne has this unique breed, if you don't mind me saying, of somebody who's very much in the Web 2 space, working for Diageo for many years, and in the marketing space with large corporates, and has since moved into the blockchain world and become a CEO for a large data privacy blockchain. So again, has the influence or the impact of both sides of the fence, and we wanted to sit and have a conversation about very simple, easy to digest topics so that maybe it will relate to some of your businesses and maybe use some questions to ask us afterwards. That makes sense? Yeah, all good? Okay, cool. So I suppose we'll kick things off if you want to introduce yourself, Adrienne, your own background and how you got to where you are, please.
I will probably not do as good a job as he did. My name is Adrienne. I have been living in Portugal for 5 years now, or just over 5 years. As John said, I started my career in strat consulting. I went into brand strategy, worked for products across Unilever's portfolio and Bed's portfolio, developed their positioning frameworks and implemented them globally. Joined FMCG and Diageo in group strategy, moved over into global brand management. Then, just as it was kind of looking predictable and my mum was relaxing, I decided to do the obvious thing with my husband of 3 months of moving to Ulaanbaatar and now to Mongolia, and investing our life savings building service businesses together in emerging markets. Amazingly, we're still married. We have 2 children, so it's going well. And we built and sold 2 service businesses, one in Ulaanbaatar and one in Singapore. I then came back to Europe via Taiwan and various other places and fell down the Web3 rabbit hole. I was a tech startup. I tried to build a micro-mentorship app to address the social capital gap and had an amazing experience doing that. Was not successful ultimately, but had a great time.
and fell into Web3 towards the end, where I've been for the last 4 years.
Time flies by. But just one thing I'll flag straight away from that conversation. Failure is common. It's more common than success. So somebody that's been through this journey, that's done it a number of times, that's been from corporate to startup and back to corporate again, and now in Web3 protocols, isn't shy or isn't unfamiliar with failure, right?
No.
It's part of all of our journey. So I guess why we're here today is to try and translate some of the hype, translate some of the jargon into real life practice. If I can ask you very simply, Adrienne, you came from a corporate world, from somewhere that was very stable and predictable, that had a lot of structure and processes and procedures. What drove you or what attracted you to the Web3 world?
So can I just do a show of hands? So how many people feel like they understand what Web3 is?
Even a little bit.
How many of you are familiar with blockchain technology as a concept and what a blockchain is? Okay, more into blockchain, good.
Awesome.
So I have a theory that you come into Web3 for one of 3 primary reasons. You might end up with a mix of them, there might be other things at play, but there's still a bit of friction involved, and therefore there's typically one overriding reason that pulls you in. And I think it's either the ideology, the technology, or the money. And the bit that everybody sees most of is the money-driven one. It's the speculation, it's the fear, the greed, the mania, the hype, the bugs, the scams, the hustle. But for me, it was very much the ideology. I came into Web3 because of this belief that decentralization could empower individuals, that decentralized technology could empower individuals in a world where it didn't feel to me like the individual was often very powerful. At its heart, what blockchain is, in my view, it's just a big, really powerful open database that nobody can fiddle with and nobody gets access to, so people can build on top of it. And whether you use that as a kind of global record of who owns what asset and when it's passed to someone else, which is basically a financial system, or you use smart contracts to create applications and open innovation on top, or you use it to coordinate operations, so you can create it's a big movement called Deepin, which is basically like the next evolution or another evolution of things like Uber, where you have decentralized operators all coordinating to provide a service. So it might be decentralized on the operator side, it might enable applications to build on top in a permissionless way. But ultimately, it's this very powerful coordination tool. It's a very powerful database. And that I found very exciting. And that, for me, was why I came in.
Nice. I'm never the smartest person in the room, and that's okay. I surround myself with really smart people. And I've often asked in the early days to break down blockchain and give it to me in a really simple, easy way to understand. Maybe it's my rugby injuries, maybe it's something
Irish.
Yeah, it could be my Irishness, I don't know. But there's something there that just wasn't allowing it to click. And somebody who happened to be Irish and head of innovation for a big, large insurance firm, focusing on blockchain, sat me down and said, "John, when were you born?" And I said, "I was born in the early 80s. I don't know, I'm looking at the demographic, there's a few 80s babies here, right? So I was born in the early 80s, and I used to go into accounting offices in Ireland, and you'd open up an old ledger with dust covered over the top cover, and you'd open it up and there'd be transactions